Three-time winners at the Challenge Championship in 2017, 2018, and 2019. Please welcome Miss Lucy Charles-Barclay.
Charles-Barclay riding on her new Cube. We all know that she has changed from Specialized to Cube. This is her first race on a new bike.
Lucy Charles-Barclay has now been added to the penalty box. And we're believing that she passed on the wrong side.
Challenge Miami was my first race in a whole 15 months, so it just felt really, really surreal, but equally exciting to be back racing after such a long amount of time away. So the main thing for me was just I was so excited to be able to soak up a race, go and race some of the best girls in a really, really unique and cool race venue, kind of get all of that excitement from traveling to a race again and just see where I'm at, because after not racing for so long, I've seen some good things in training, but if you don't go to a race, I feel like you haven't kind of validated where you're at, and you can't come back home and then work on the things that maybe didn't go quite so well, or understand what is working well in training and what isn't. So yeah, just super excited to get back out there. Yeah, so my last race 15 months ago was in Daytona in 2019. So that was also on a NASCAR circuit. So I kind of felt that was gonna be almost a good thing because my last race was on a similar type of format. But leading into Daytona 2019, I really hadn't done much training. I was enjoying my off season. I'd done Kona off the back of coming second. This was really like a fun kind of race, and I knew it was going to be a cool environment to race at, so I was just keen to race back in 2019. This race was completely different because I was training for it. I wanted to see where I was at. I was going in wanting to put a good result down after 15 months away. I wanted to cement, I'm still here, this is still what I'm about, I want to be at the pointy end of the race. So I went in feeling good, but with no idea of what my training that I had been doing would kind of give, what result that would give me in the race. So ultimately I was really happy with how the training had translated into the race, and it was similar to Daytona, but at the same time very different, because Daytona is just a big circle, very untechnical, quite straightforward, whereas this course had a different dynamic. It was kind of very technical in the middle with 3 hairpin turns, or kind of an S-shaped turn, and then a very strong hairpin turn at one end. So there was 4 turns going on, headwinds, tailwinds, crosswinds, so a very, very different dynamic to the course in Daytona. So the week leading into the race in Miami, pretty dull, nothing exciting happened. So pretty much spent most of the week in my hotel room, on the trainer, on the NASCAR circuit, doing a bit of bike run. First run in Miami, we're going to test out our Alpha Flies. I've never actually run in these on the road, so I've only ever I've only ever run in them on the treadmill, so time to test them out on the road. I wouldn't normally just use them for an easy run, but since I'm going to race in them, I need to get used to them ASAP. So yeah, nice little easy run, and then we're going to head in the pool behind us for about 5-6k of swimming. It's Saturday at the moment, so we've got just under a week until race day. So yeah, should be nice. It's much warmer here than at home. It feels pretty humid actually, so see how we get on with the humidity and a bit more heat than back in the UK. Went to the nice outdoor pool to swim most days, so I was getting a lot of swim practice in, but other than that, was pretty much in my hotel room. So not much to report on that, but actually felt pretty chill just being in my room and getting ready for the race. I did get to do a bit of a photo shoot at the hotel, which was for the PTO, flying the British flag, making sure I had it the right way up, kind of doing some hero stance photo stuff, so that there's a whole backlog of images of me that can be used this year that have got my new kit, my new sponsors, then the PTO can use them. And then kind of other media stuff was obviously the pre-race press conference where me and Paula were doing, I would say, a head-to-head, but it wasn't really, we were just being asked questions together. Obviously my last race in Daytona 2019, me and Paula did go head-to-head, so it's pretty cool that we did the press conference together. Yeah, that's always fun. It's kind of one of those things that it's just to kind of see how the other athletes are feeling, what they're thinking, so that was quite good to do, but other than that, not much else happening. It was not very windy, which it was windy last time, so I feel like I could take all the bends apart from one in my tri-bars, so yeah, feeling good. If it's going to be like this, it'll be super fast. If it's like where it was like 2 days ago, it won't be that quick because you've got a really strong headwind on this straight, so yeah, hoping it won't be like that, but I guess everyone's in the same boat, so yeah, it should be fun. Oh, there was definitely some rustiness. I think one of the main things actually is travelling to race as a professional athlete, as an amateur athlete, is stressful, but trying to travel to race during COVID is just a whole nother level of stressful, with hours and hours and hours to get through customs, to have passports checked, COVID test checked, exemptions checked, so that is just a whole nother world, but obviously when it's your job, you've got to do it, you've got to make it happen. So kind of tapering and leading into the race, we're quite good at that, so I feel like we did that pretty well. It was a unique one because we were actually hotel quarantining, so the only time we could actually leave the hotel was to train, so that kind of meant that it made it a lot more straightforward. There was nothing else going on, so we kind of got those sessions done, tapered off well, felt really good. And then in terms of the race, definitely some rustiness. So it's just everything that's going on the morning of the race. Yeah, I'm just excited to race, to be honest. Like, it's been so long, so I'm just trying to remember everything that I need. I'm quite glad it's not a full distance. Like, I feel like I don't really need that much stuff compared to that. So yeah, it's gonna be good to go out and race, suffer for a bit. So kind of setting up your transitions, I felt quite relaxed, but then I felt like was almost leaving it to the last minute, racking my bike and then wanting to get in the swim, do a swim warm up, check where I'm going. So all of that was a little bit hectic, but transitions were definitely where there was most of the rustiness. So just coming into T1, remembering how to get a swim skin off, putting a helmet back on at speed. My mount was pretty slow, it normally is. I mean, when you're doing the long course, it doesn't really matter. However, this race is super short, so doing those things at speed would be important. So my mount was pretty slow. Then actually on the bike itself, I felt really good, I felt really comfortable, I felt like I could lay down the power. Cornering felt really good, I felt like I handled my bike in the wind really well, so that was not bad. Biggest rustiest moment, dismount. Now you may have heard of a flying mount, I did a flying dismount. Definitely not my finest moment. I think Bill Christie, who is top guy at the Nascar, owner of the Nascar circuit, he said it's probably going to go viral on NBC, so quite looking forward to that. Not. Main kind of thing that happened there was just didn't slow down in time, and I knew I did not want another penalty for going over the dismount lines. Braked super hard, put both feet down, just went straight over the front of the bike. So luckily I really didn't hurt myself from doing that. I was absolutely fine. The volunteer there was absolutely amazing, checking I was okay, grabbed my bike. I had my penalty to serve, which I've only ever had 2 penalties in my life, so I didn't know that you're not allowed to do anything in the penalty tent. So I basically grabbed everything in transition, run up to the penalty tent, thought that you could do everything in there. You're not allowed to put your shoes on in there, which I got told when I got there, so I had to go back out, put my shoes on, then go in. I was told that I could put everything else on in there. So I know that now. Hopefully I never get another penalty, but I know what you can and can't do in the penalty tent. And then the run felt really good. I felt really strong and had one of my best runs. So overall, definitely some takeaways, definitely some rustiness, but mostly positives to take away from the race itself. So in the swim, I obviously had a swimmer on my toes, which apart from Laura and Brandon, I'm never really used to having anyone on my toes. I kind of was trying to work out who it was. I knew we had some strong British swimmers in there with the likes of Jodie Stimpson and Fenella, but I knew it wasn't those girls because they have sleeves on their suit, and this particular athlete had no sleeves. So having found out that Sarah is actually, or was, an Olympic swimmer, I don't feel so bad about having that strong swimmer on my feet. But actually, it didn't really benefit me in the swim, but it was definitely a benefit later on the bike just to have another strong athlete there and a bit of a carrot at times to chase. Yeah, so I mean, the bike ultimately, I felt super strong. These were one of the best power numbers I held over a course that isn't really a power-driven course. There's parts where you're trying to push into a headwind, almost get a bit of a rest in the tailwind, trying to be aero, but equally still want to lay down power. And then whilst you're going through the technical corners, you're not really laying down any power at all. And it gives you a slight break to come out of the aero bars every lap, particularly just on that one hairpin turn. So that worked quite nice to not be completely aero and tightening up. So the bike itself felt amazing, handled really well. So all of that was great. Obviously, I got a penalty on the bike, which is one of those ones where I've discussed it with the referee after the race. He's basically telling me it was a 50-50 call between whether I should or shouldn't have got the penalty. He decided I should have. Another referee could have been completely the opposite. You would have seen from my Instagram post, I've kind of explained what happened, but basically, as I came into one of the turns, I'd made the left-hand turn, and then as we were making a right-hand turn, I was catching up a lapped rider who was at least a lap behind. She took the best line, which is the apex of the turn. Now, technically, I'm supposed to overtake on the right-hand side. There's no right-hand side of road left. I would be on the grass. So I decided to overtake super wide on the left and then cut back in. So my view was that was the safest option. If I had actually braked as I hit the bend, I was already in her 20-metre draft zone. If you brake and back out of that zone, you get a drafting violation because you've been in the draft zone. So kind of didn't really have a choice when you're going so quick. Like, I'm going over 45 kilometres an hour in a bend. So you're making a split decision, what's safest, what's going to get me through. So I didn't get any advantage from the move that I made. Did get a penalty because I overtook on the left. You're not allowed to overtake on the left. So it's one of those ones where I think the rule will be changed for these kind of racing. I think the NASCAR racing on the circuit is super cool, but rules need to be completely different. I accept the rule, but I think they will be changed going forward to make it fairer on an athlete that's leading the race. I hope it is changed, that lap riders are either warned that the lead rider leading the race is coming, or they are just irrelevant to the rules. Other than that, like I said, I had a great ride. I had a terrible dismount. I don't really want to watch it back. I've watched it back a couple of times. I think the only way I'm not going to do that again is just by braking earlier. I was coming in with a tailwind at quite a lot of speed and just completely misjudged how quickly I needed to stop. So yeah, if I don't do that again, that's a win as well. So yeah, that's pretty much the bike. Yeah, so after my penalty, I knew I only had about a 2-minute 15 lead when I entered T2. So I knew that that lead was going to be eaten up with my penalty, and I was going to head out onto the run with some strong runners like Paula Finlay and Jodie Stimpson. My main concern was definitely Jodie, because I know her ITU pedigree, Commonwealth gold medalist. She can run. So I kind of knew that my only option if I wanted to win the race was to run with Jodie and hang on. And after about 3 laps, I knew that I just couldn't sustain that pace. I was running really, really well for my running, but it just wasn't going to be possible at the end of the day. So mentally I was more than willing to go into a head-to-head battle, but my body just wasn't ready. Like it's definitely, like I said, it's my first race in 15 months and I was pretty happy with my run. I know there's still progress to be made and there definitely is progress that will be made. But yeah, it's just one of those things where when I came out of the tent and saw Jodie, I knew this was going to be really, really tough to get the win after that. Yeah, so all in all for Team Charles-Barclay, it was a fairly unlucky race. I obviously had a penalty, fell off my bike, that's pretty much my own fault, but Reece had a decent swim. His head was definitely a bit screwed up because he'd heard I'd got a penalty. He also heard I'd crashed on my bike, so I think he was a bit worried if I was even okay, if I was going to finish my race, literally moments before he was starting his. So I think for where his swim is at the moment, he definitely didn't do a swim that kind of reflected that. And then he basically got onto second lap on the bike and he got a puncture in his front wheel, so he just heard it start hissing. The sealant was starting to seal it, but after about 8 laps, his wheel was completely flat, tyre rolling off the wheel, so that was his race over. So whilst I was disappointed with my race, I think Reece is probably more disappointed with his, and I feel like I say this a lot, but I'm just waiting for him to have the perfect day where it all comes together. I'm sure he's desperate for that as well, but for now, we just have to go away, continue to train and work towards our next opportunity to race, which hopefully won't be another 15 months, it will be sooner than that. But yeah, it's kind of, we've learned a lot from the weekend. We always feel like we're learning, which is a benefit, but still not always got the luck on our side, but yeah, that comes with the sport, I guess. Okay, so I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Challenge Miami, Bill Christie and the Nascar team for putting on a race during obviously these difficult times. It was just amazing to be back on a start line in a super cool venue. So also thank you to Homestead Miami for hosting us. It was really, really cool. I am going to be doing a bit of a giveaway where I'm going to give away my Challenge Miami t-shirt, my Challenge Miami tote bag, and also my race cap from the race. So if you want to win that, I have a pretty cool idea. So in the comments below, I want you to comment what could be done to make these races even cooler. We're obviously on a NASCAR circuit. What is something cool that we could bring in to make these races different, more exciting? Yeah, so if you think of something, comment it below and we're going to pick one of those to win all of those cool items. My suggestion for this is we're on a NASCAR circuit, it has a pit lane, let's make use of it. So obviously Reece got a puncture in the race, let's have spare wheels there for the athletes. I mean, professional athletes, we could have a complete spare bike ready to go if there was an issue. So that would just be amazing. They do it in motorsports, they do it in the touring cycling. Let's make use of the venue we've got. So obviously that's my idea, but I'd love you to all to share your ideas about what could be done, and then I will pick a winner for those really cool items, which I will sign as well. Okay, thanks for watching my Challenge Miami update. I have got really bad jet lag, slept for 14 hours last night, so hopefully I made sense in that video. I've still got my race number on. I have washed, I promise. But as always, if you like this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for loads cool more videos.